Hey guys, it's ANicWin, also known as Amy, and happy Monday. I hope you're having a lovely day. I don't know what's happening here. This is not my mic being weird. This is just my voice. There we go. That was strange. Okay, anyway, hi. Hope you guys are doing well. This is an apartment renovation in Evergreen Harbor. This is the Stonestreet Apartments number 4. I specifically chose this unit because it was the one that I thought was going to be more conducive to the floor plan I was going to try to emulate. Now, this is very loosely modeled after the floor plan of my very first apartment when I was like 19. It was in 2012-ish to 2013. I don't remember the exact dates, but it was my sophomore year of college. I couldn't afford university housing, as so many of us can't because it's outrageous. And an apartment was just going to be cheaper. So me and my best friend, we moved off campus into the apartment unit that we moved into. I'm not going to tell you what it was because that's weird. But it was just a square. So you'd walk in, to your left would be the living room. Well, you walked in, there was a little bit of an entryway that ended in a wall. But anyway, to your left was the living room. And it went kind of in a circle, but it was square if you're following. So living room, dining room, kitchen. To the right of the kitchen was the bathroom, the first bedroom, and then a hallway with a second bedroom, and that led back to the front door. So it just felt really realistic, very simple. I couldn't pull off the little hallway bit here to, like, realistically. I needed 1 or 2 more tiles of width. I just couldn't make it work. Also, the bathroom is in the wrong spot, and the closet placements are kind of correct, but also wrong. So there are some differences, but that's okay. I knew there would be. It's really hard to get proportions right in The Sims 4. They're just a little wonky, you know? It'd be what it be. So when I sat down to furnish this, I knew that I was going to go with the green tones on the wall because I was going to use that brick on the fireplace, the bathroom, and the kitchen. I also knew that I was going to use that dark hardwood floor that came with Eco Lifestyle to add warmth to the space. And then I thought that my furnishings were going to be kind of those soft wood tones, like the almost bleached out ones, like think oak, ash, stuff like that. And I did that. I furnished this entire room like that, hated it, stripped it back. It just didn't feel true to the space. And so I went with whatever this is. I don't know what this is. I guess it's got an industrial vibe to it, but it's also got some other stuff going on. I don't know. So I just kind of went with 2 things that I knew for certain. One, I was going to use teal as an accent color purely because of that industrial loft kit table. Right now it's in that darker swatch with the gray bins, but here soon I switch it over and it's a little bit lighter of a wood tone. The metal's a little, like the bits on it, hardware, that one. The hardware is a little bit lighter, and then the little accent bins are teal. Not that one. I was going to go yellow initially, but I end up settling on that one. And that table, the console table that the TV's on, changes like 5 times, so don't get attached to that either. But I really like how this turned out. A full disclosure, I thought that my color palette was too wild and I wasn't going to be able to carry it through each room. And I do a fairly good job, I think. I mean, for consistency, it shocked me a little bit because I don't feel like teal is a super common color in the game. And then I also chose, because I was going for like an autumnal vibe, the yellows, the oranges. Very loosely, we go with like golds and copper. Although the metallics are hard to really nail down because you can't really control that on different pieces. I wish we could. Man, I wish we could, but we can't. Oh well. Anyway, that's what we were going for. And there's a specific rug, and I think it came with, I have to think about that one. I want to say Get Famous, but I could be wrong. But I placed it here in the living room. That really, for me, solidified that I was kind of on a good track because it includes all of those color tones in one piece. And I'm like, okay, all right, I feel good about this now. Because very briefly, as I was finishing this room, I thought I was going to have to redo it again and come up with something else. And if that was, just full disclosure, if that was going to happen, I was probably going to scrap this apartment and move on to something else because at that point, you're just indecisive, right? And when I say you, I mean me, not you, me. It's directed at me. But it worked out. I'm glad it did. I like the space. I think it feels kind of chaotic, but also cozy, which it's a vibe, right? I don't know if we all enjoy it, but it's definitely something we've all experienced. So there you have it. Now, I think I've got college on the brain a lot recently because for those of you who know, and it's okay if you don't know, I think I briefly mentioned it last week. I went on a trip to Tennessee. I'm from Kentucky, so Tennessee's a neighboring state, obviously. And I went with a couple of my former college roommates, some of my very good best friends, and that was a horrible sentence. Very good best friends. Anyway, I've known them for 11 years now, I believe. We met in 2011. We all lived in the same dorm, and one of their birthdays was on the 25th. So we went down and just kind of spent a few days in a cabin. It was great. And that just kind of got me in that mindset of college and thinking about that and remembering dorm life and what that was like and experiencing some crazy things with some people that, you love. And nobody has it figured out when you go to college. You don't. I mean, they just sort of drop you off. Here I've lost my curtains if you're wondering what's happening. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. You kind of figure it out as you go. You muddle your way through. And that train of thought just led me to here. So I attempted undergrad twice because life gets in the way sometimes. And some of you may know I graduated in May with my undergrad. I've also started a graduate program. I started on the 22nd was my first day. So by the time you watch this will be my third week. It's a 10-week term. So things are going 30% of the way through the class. And I'm really enjoying it. It's very different from my original program, which was family sciences. It's if that's kind of vague for some people if you don't know what that means, and it really can mean anything. I tended to focus on the way that families utilize resources as a unit, as a family unit. That was kind of my focus in my study. I'm not going to be really using that necessarily in my career, but also I kind of will because it's interrelated with a lot of things. And my grad program is in higher education. So yeah, I want to help people be the best that they can be. That kind of sounded like the Army slogan, I think. But that's just kind of my career goal, is to be in a support role, supporting families, supporting themselves. That sounds circular because it kind of is, but I don't know what that's going to look like. There's no clear trajectory for me in my career path. I just know that what I'm doing right now is not going to be fulfilling enough for me long term. This is not a job that I'm going to be able to retire from, what I'm doing right now, which I would tell you more about, but I cannot and will not because it will give you way too much information. But it's not fulfilling enough for me and my little soul. So we're making some life changes, which is good. I don't think it's ever too late. And I'm one of those people that believes that life happens in seasons. And what I mean by that is what is right for you at this moment may not have been right for you, 10 years ago, 2 years ago. And you should always kind of just pay attention to what's going on in your body, in your mind, in your life, and pursue interests and experiences and things like that, because you don't know where they're going to lead, first of all. And there's a reason typically that you're interested in something specific, if that makes sense. Something's like if you find yourself looking up articles about, I don't know, beluga whales, maybe marine biology is in your future. That was a really weird example, but I would just say pay attention to yourself. Nobody knows you like you, and there's no right or wrong way to be, right? Like there's no right or wrong way. There's no select trajectory that's going to mean that you're more successful or less successful than another human. This has turned very ranty. I'm going to move on. So you saw the living room, you saw the dining room. I was very surprised I carried that color palette all the way through. There was a little bit of a reading section with that little teal chair. It's not me if there's not a spot to sit and read. That's kind of my thing. I love it. And I am an avid reader. I do read all the time. Not as much as I would like to, but it is something that I enjoy. It's a hobby, if you will. Now we're in the kitchen. I do include laundry If you don't want to play with laundry, or if you don't have laundry, I would just make that the trash can pantry. Like, I would literally put the trash can in that space. You could add some decorations and stuff like that as well. It really was meant to be a food pantry, but I don't have the patience to put shelving in there and stock it full of food. I also feel like that bogs down a build, especially a smaller build, so I just didn't do it. But that was the vision. It's supposed to be a pantry. And as you can see, I did mix the Country Kitchen Kit counters, and I've mixed them with the Parenthood cabinets up at the top. I do that because the Country Kitchen Kit counters and cabinets come with that curtain, and I think this swatch is pink. None of the colors are great. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the colors of the curtains. Not a fan. I would not put curtains on a cabinet anyway, even if they had like a glass feature, because I think that looks tacky, but that's just a personal opinion. If you like it, please don't be offended. But I mixed the two just because they're the same color swatches. I discovered that when the kit came out, and it sparked joy for me, so I continued to do it. And then we move into the bathroom here. So the bathroom is a little bit off the color palette, but it's still got those orange vibes kind of coming into play. I struggled with the shower because I really just did not like the tile at the back and the tile at the bottom. You either had like a really bright blue floor, which made no sense to me whatsoever, or this really garish tile at the back. And then I remember you can push showers into the wall, so I stopped worrying about it. I ended up using this new sink from it's not my high school years, from high school years, just because I felt like it fit the vibe with that toilet from... Oh, it's the outside one. The one that came with, you know what I'm talking about. Snowy Escape, that one. I use that toilet. I really like this bathroom. I think it's a nice mix of vintage and modern. It felt true to the space, whatever that style is. And I kind of brought the orange tones in there. I didn't really worry about teal just because teal in a bathroom is not a guarantee. Then we move on to the kids' room, and I'm picturing the space for a boy, for a genuine, like a kid. And it really could go either way. It could be for a boy or a girl. You can change a few color swatches of a few things, but I'm picturing a little boy who's kind of into science. I think he's like a really active participant in his science fair. I think he's into robotics. And so as a kid, he's kind of into like the void critter things. He's got his little robot statue that's up by his bed. I don't think he built that. I think it's just a toy. And I placed the science table from Snowy Escape once again, and there's some ribbons. So he's pretty successful at what he does. Maybe he's also on the academic, like quick read call team or something like that. I just feel like he's into the STEM stuff, you know? That's his thing, his little niche. I also carried through that teal and the orange in here. I was not going to use that wallpaper. I was initially going to make this room blue with kind of like the mountain theme. I've done a bedroom like that similarly in a Japanese inspired house that I did in Mount Como, and decided I didn't want to repeat that, mostly because I didn't want the room to be that shade of blue. I wanted something else. And so I went with this. I do swap around the accent wall to this wall with the closet, so the room is mostly white. I also, you may notice, put some accent walls in the living space and the dining room. I just put one of the darker green swatches of that wall. I think it's actually teal, just to kind of break up the space a little bit because it needed it. It really did. But I really like this kid's room. I think this is the most, I would say probably realistic kids room I've ever made. I don't give him a desk. I felt like maybe he's a dining room homework kind of kid, and I don't put in a dresser, but we have the closet. I just feel like for an apartment space, this felt really nice. Now, ideally, I would have liked to have given him a pet. I do include the little postcard bulletin board thing. I kind of wanted to give him a hamster, but I also didn't feel like it fit the space very well. It was going to block something, and I just wasn't willing to do it. So if that's an idea that you enjoy, if you want to throw in some My First Pet stuff, you could absolutely put that there. Of course, they could have gotten rid of the closet and included that, but I wanted to make sure he had enough room to get in here, move around, and play with like the void critter station and everything. And I wanted it to be usable and not just cute, if that makes any sense. But that's the kids' room. And then we move on to the master bedroom. Now, I don't know what the parent situation is in this home. I do think it's a dual parent household, but I don't know what that looks like, what that would mean necessarily. And I don't know what they do for careers or what they're into. I just know that this is where they live and this is their bedroom. And this room goes a little bit off script with the color palette, but it's still in the same color family, so I felt pretty good about it. That's really all I can say. But this is pretty much the end of the builds. I'm going to leave you guys here to enjoy the rest of it. As always, feel free to leave a like or comment down below letting me know what you think. You can also subscribe if that's something that would spark joy for you. I will be posting the screenshots on Instagram if you want to hop over there and check those out. I will see you on Monday with my next video. And in the meantime, I hope you have a lovely day and a lovely rest of your week. Bye, guys.